birds are out, the sun is up, there's no wind blowing. I think we're overdue for a trip to the range. But before we do that, I definitely think that we need to clean this bad boy up. Hey guys, this is Travis P11. I want to welcome you back to the channel. And today what we're going to do is just a very, very mild, I guess you could say field strip and cleaning of this Ruger 308 Precision rifle. This particular rifle is on loan to us from the owner of SS Pawn. His name is Stan. And SS Pawn's a business located in Lexington, Nebraska. Okay guys, they will take care of all of your firearms needs if you give them a call. Stan's a really good guy. They got great prices and definitely a company that you want to work with. So give SS Pawn a call and you will get a chance to purchase something like this. Alright, a little bit about this rifle. I will not be separating the upper and the lower simply because this firearm has been dialed in as accurately as possible. It is ready to go. It is ready for range trip. It doesn't have a ton of rounds through it. So what we want to do is just clean up the bolt, clean up the barrel, give the gun just a general wipe down before we take it out to the range. And I want to just show you that basic process. It's a little bit different from your standard issue 308 bolt action rifles that you might be used to, you know, other like Mossbergs or Remingtons or whatever brand you shoot. A little bit different step in the procedure of what you normally do, but not much different. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll show you which basic cleaning products you're going to need and where to begin. Okay, before we get started, let's go ahead and talk about some of the basic items that you're going to need to do this cleanup. We're going to be using some CLP and a little bit of Rem oil. Some barrel patches, some cut up chunks of t-shirt that we'll just use to wipe down the barrel and the inside of the receiver. I'm going to use this lengthier cleaning rod here that you see, not to go down the barrel itself, but just to kind of clean out the chamber area without actually disassembling the upper and the lower. 30 caliber bore snake, some soft cleaning brushes, some soft brass cleaning brushes, and finally a steaming hot cup of coffee because it's early on a Sunday morning and I think it'll make this clean go much, much better. So a little bit of Black Rifle Coffee Company never goes wrong. Alright, so now let's go ahead and run into our first step. Okay guys, let's go ahead and ensure that the firearm is in fact unloaded. So what you want to do is make sure that you've removed the magazine. Go ahead and open up the bolt and inspect the chamber. Make sure there's no rounds anywhere. Okay, make sure it's all clear, cleaned out, ready to go. Okay, now unlike a lot of the other bolt action rifles where we would just pull the trigger or flip up a little knob and remove the bolt, this is going to take an extra step. So go ahead and close up that bolt and we'll move on to the next step. Okay guys, just above the safety and up off to your right, you're going to find a button here. This button is going to be essentially the release which will allow you to fold the stock around, which is a necessary step if you wish to remove the bolt. So go ahead and push this button down and fold the stock over. Okay, and if you did it correctly, you should be looking at something that looks just like this. Okay, now what you want to do is go ahead and lift up on the bolt, pull back on the bolt. You're going to see that comes out of the rear of the receiver. And there's one additional step we have to take in order to remove it. Okay, on the left-hand side of the rifle, you've got this little tab right here, this little button that's sticking up. What you want to do is press down on that button with your finger and pull back with the bolt. Bolt's going to come right out of the firearm. Now guys, if you want to, you can get into even more detail and go through this bolt and clean it out if you want to. I'm not going to be cleaning out this bolt. Like I said, I want to take it to the range. You know, I want to definitely accuracy test it. And then if it's okay with the firearms owner, I'll disassemble the bolt and go ahead and clean it. The mechanism does not look very complicated. Looks very similar to other bolt action rifles that I own. So all we're going to do is just go ahead and wipe off the bolt with the light coat of CLP, just to make sure that it has adequate lubrication when it's being cycled through the action. Kind of wipe that off. Not very dirty at all. No problems there. Okay. Go ahead and get the front. Now for this procedure you might have a little bit of buildup of some brass, especially if you do a lot of shooting. So what you want to do is go ahead and take a soft brush and just put a little bit of CLP on it. Not much, just a little bit. Get some on the bristles. And go ahead and just brush off the front of the bolt face, where your firing pin comes out and where you have your ejector and extractor. Very unique bolt design compared to other bolt action rifles I've seen before. Okay. Again, just give it a thorough wipe down. Make sure it's all good to go. And we'll just set it off to the side when we get done. There we go. You can wipe this off if you want to and then hit it with some Rem oil. It's awfully dry inside this chamber area, so I'm going to make sure this has adequate lubrication on it. We are going to take a dry patch, however, and we're going to go ahead and just wipe off the front of the bolt. I like to get my finger in there behind the extractor in case there's any buildup of any powder residue. I don't think there's been a lot of rounds put through this rifle. I see very little bolt wear at all. Of course, it could be kind of a testament to the quality and the manufacturing and craftsmanship that went into this rifle. Very, very robust rifle. Very, very heavy duty platform. That's going to get the job done. Okay, that looks nice and clean. All right, we'll go ahead and set the bolt off to the side and we'll move into the chamber area and the barrel. Okay guys, what I like to do next is what I call marinating the barrel. We're going to let the barrel just soak up a little bit with some CLP so that we can break up some of that carbon fouling. Now I know that there are some precision shooters that don't like to clean their barrels until the end of a shooting season or clean them until after they shot several matches just because it can affect accuracy. But we're not really worried about that today. We just need to get a nice clean bore before we go out to the range. So we're going to go ahead and spray a little bit of CLP. Make sure you have your straw attachment down the barrel. Going to go ahead and hold on to the straw so it doesn't pop off. And again, if this happens to foam up behind the feed ramps and so on, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. It will eventually start running out of the end. So just again, fill up the barrel. Make sure you have enough in there. And we're going to go ahead and let that sit for just a few minutes before we continue cleaning the barrel. All right, so go ahead and take a couple sections of cleaning rod. And I'm just using a decent sized patch of cotton t-shirt here that's got some CLP on it. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to put that inside the bore and inside the receiver and just simply scrub things out a little bit, get up there by those feed ramps and get that cleaned out. So go ahead and just kind of twist it around, scrubbing in the process, okay? Almost like you're cleaning out some kind of a pipe. And again, you can separate the upper from the lower if you want to. I've just decided not to do that for this particular clean, simply because I don't want to have to compromise the accuracy of the rifle, which has already been dialed in, like I said before. You can get up there by those feed ramps if you want to. If you're familiar with an AR-15, there's a few design features that are very similar to the AR, okay? All right, that's nice. Okay, we'll go ahead and take that off. All right, and now what we want to do is just go ahead and take a chunk of some clean patch, and we're going to go ahead and run that through the bore and do the same just to kind of wipe everything up. Okay. Any other buildup that CLP might be releasing, any other carbon from burned powder. Okay. Really, this one's coming out fairly clean. It does look very nice. Just going to clean that out a little bit more. You can really get down there by those feeding ramps. If you happen to have like a 308 AR-10 style bore brush, you know, the specialty brushes which are made to clean in front of the feeding ramps, you might want to get that kind of a brush and use it on a rifle like this. I think it would come in handy since it's a very similar design. Okay, now what we want to do is just go ahead and take a patch, again another one, go ahead and spray some Rem oil on it. Now again, the nice thing about Rem oil is it's going to give you a nice lubricated protective coating, but it's not going to be overly greasy. It's not going to get a buildup of dirt or grime on it like that a heavier lubricant might. Okay, all right, go ahead and just put that in there and again clean out that receiver area. Again, just a very, very simple cleaning, guys. Just enough to get it to the point that I feel like it's going to be clean enough to take the range, but at the same time it's not a total field strip. Okay, we're not going to remove the hand guards or anything like that. Okay, there we go. Now this lens is recessed fairly far into this sunshade on the scope. Otherwise I would be covering up the front of the optic with like a baggie because I don't want to get any kind of residue or buildup on that glass. Okay. All right, we got that all done. Let's go ahead and move on to cleaning the barrel. Okay, so if you have a cleaning rod, you know, you can always run your cleaning rod down the barrel with your bristles first and then your patches and then your mop if you want to. That's fine. I'm just going to be using a .30 caliber bore snake when we do this. And what you want to do is just where the string meets the actual cleaning portion itself, you want to put a little bit of CLP or Rem oil in front of the bristle portion, okay? And then you want to put a little bit just to the rear of it, and then what's going to happen is that's going to soak through, and then the rest of this bore snake is going to do a cleaning of the barrel itself. We want to do this probably 3 times, I'm guessing, maybe 4. You want to make sure that the bore is nice and shiny, so we just go ahead and take the weight and drop it through. Now this part can be a little bit complicated because you're trying to get that down there and there's a fairly large chamber area. So eventually the weight will take over. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and get that down the barrel. And again, just start feeding. Now you can go all the way from the rear of the receiver if you need to. And eventually the weight will come out on the end of the barrel. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and pull the bore snake to the rear. Now, I mean, I could have gone all the way through the rear if I wanted to, but we're not going to mess with that for this. We don't have to do that. There's enough space right here in the ejection port where it should not be a problem. Okay, so go ahead and just line up the snake and just pull it through. Now you're going to get some resistance, and so you're going to make sure that you hold on to the firearm and go ahead and just pull on the snake itself. Pull the snake through. Okay. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and do that 3 more times, and then I'm going to check the barrel with a bore light just to make sure that it's nice and clean, that there's no more buildup in there. And then we'll go ahead and give the exterior just a little bit of a wipe down. Okay guys, well, reassembly of this rifle is much easier than disassembly, so just go ahead and take your bolt and slide it back into the receiver. You'll hear that little tab click, which means that it is now locked in place. Okay? So it can't just be pulled out. Go ahead and pull your bolt down. Reposition that a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and take just a little, just mildly soaked CLP patch, and I'm just going to go ahead and wipe the whole firearm off, the handguard, the barrel. Go ahead and wipe off the rear of the receiver before you reassemble the stock, or reattach the stock, I should say. Okay, go ahead and fold your stock around, and it's going to click into place. There we go. We'll go ahead and give the gun just a general wipe down, and that's basically going to end the whole process. So I am looking forward to taking this firearm out to the range. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a very cool rifle. And again, just make sure you maintain your rifles, keep them clean, and they should function flawlessly for you whenever you go out to the range. Guys, this is Travis P11. I want to thank you for joining me on this very simple field strip and cleaning of the Ruger Precision Rifle chambered in .308 Winchester. Please like or subscribe. You can check me out over on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm also doing a live podcast now called The Caliber Corner. I'm going to try to get that airing on Saturday mornings whenever I'm going to be around. And we just do general gun talk. You can also support me over on Patreon at patreon.com/TravisP11. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. So please like or subscribe, guys. Make sure you check out the other subscription buttons that I put on the end of this video for other really cool gun websites I'd like y'all to check out. And we should be bringing you a range test of this rifle in the near future. Okay, guys, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. I want you to have a great weekend. And as you know, we will talk to you soon.